This is your Professionals and Animal Lover Show. And it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine. I'm Tommy D. That's Valerie, Charli Sorrentino, back in the hot seat. Charli Sorrentino, you're back on the P.A.L show. Look, I was telling somebody the other day, I was on it wasn't even a Zoom call. It was I'm going to walk around the neighborhood while I'm on my cell phone kind of meeting because I needed that. And the person I was talking to was like, it's funny you're walking around the neighborhood. I was watching myself on a Zoom screen the other day, and I was the only person who was not still. So this person was saying that they were moving because I just watched myself in the Zoom box and I'm moving the whole time, dancing to our music, dancing to the music. We're back. It's been a week, but we are back. And we got to send, a shout out to our friend Bonnie Clapper. She was going to be here. She got held up on something, not going to be here today. Sending good vibes. We appreciate you. We will get you back on the show as soon as that's possible. Charli Sorrentino, back, topical conversation. And I pulled something up on the Humane Society website. I will tell you about PALs before we get into it, but service dogs, emotional support animals, therapy dogs. We're going to talk about all that. Charli is a certified canine therapist, canine trainer, canine professional. We'll talk about all that. But before we talk about behaviorist, yes.
That's a big deal.
It's probably a joke I made on the last show, and it's probably a joke I'll make right now. We could use somebody to improve the behavior of the people who live in this house. I don't know if that's what you do, Charli. It might be somebody different. I mean, we'll get into that. But I will say this. I'll just read you something, and then I'm sure Valerie would like to say some words as well. But we want to amplify the message that the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. We want to create this community. We want business professionals and community professionals to get together. We are in the process of doing it, not where we want to. We're developing this community so that everyone wins.
Especially the animals.
And especially in an important 2 weeks out from the first ever Compassion Awards, which Valerie will tell you about. But we do this by this show, which is now over a year old. We're creating such community and just so many more things to come, so many partnerships, relationships. Val, why don't you talk about the upcoming Compassion Awards and whatever else is on your mind before we get Charli in here to the conversation?
So before I do the Compassion Awards, so one of the things that we always talk about, we have a mission that requires learning, educating, and advocating. And I just want to say we always have so much to learn, and it's because of people like you, Charli, who are highly credentialed, qualified experts that come on the show and help us decipher a lot of what is out there, because there's so much to know, there's so much to understand. So we really say thank you for being here, and I can't wait to get into this topic. But so brief description of the Compassion Awards, first annual. I know people sometimes don't like when people say that inaugural. You say whatever you want. I'm calling it the first annual because the goal was to make this an annual event where we acknowledge and honor local people who are doing great things for animals. And we have 3 honorees as the first time out of the gate. It was really hard to pick just 3. It was actually heartache. It was so hard to just limit it to 3. That said, our honorees are John DiLeonardo of Humane Long Island, Renee Kraft, who is literally like a queen of TNR, and Regina Mendoza, who was our first guest, and with Camp Happy Tails NYC. So, get your tickets. You can get them at pal-show.com. It's going to be phenomenal. There's going to be pet working, when you're networking amongst other animal lovers. We have phenomenal sponsors. We have a great gift bag giveaway, including our very first promotional item, which is sponsored by PALs, a pet fire safety sticker, very important to have. And there's going to be amazing food. There's going to be sports memorabilia, silent auction, step and repeat, a DJ. I mean, I don't know what else there could be.
I went there last night. My son and I went to kind of just take a look at the place. If you haven't been to the refuge out on Broad Hollow in Melville, great place. We're going to be outside. I mean, and it was so beautiful last night too, Val. This being Wednesday, this was Tuesday night. It was like a brisk autumn night. And I was like, this is right on. This is perfect. This is perfect. It's going to be so great. So we're super excited. If you haven't got your tickets, pal-show.com. That's what
October 11th. 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. And you don't want to miss the gift bag giveaway. You want to be one of the first 100 people to buy a ticket, because those are the ones that are going to have all of the goodie items in there. So, okay. And then one last thing before we dive into the topic. I just want to say, like, we all have people we know in Florida. We all have friends, family, people that we love. And my cousin is there. I have several cousins there actually, and his children. And I used to live in St. Augustine, Florida. A lot of neighbors, and we're really praying and thinking of you guys, and hopefully everyone's going to stay safe. I hope you evacuated if you were told to, bringing your pets obviously with you. But I'm just sending out best wishes. Let's get through the storm.
Right on. Good vibes for sure.
Okay.
We're compassionate people, not just for animals, Val. We care about people too. That's kind
Right.
of our thing here. So let's you told me, Valerie, that Charlie was coming on the show a short time ago. I grabbed some information. I said from the American Humane Society, service dogs. I made 4 paragraphs on service dogs, emotional support animals, therapy dogs. There are some key differentiators, and I know you have a lot of questions for Charlie. So, Charlie, you want to just jump in, introduce yourself, and then Valerie can kind of take it away with some questions for you. How's that sound?
Sure, sounds good. Okay, I'm Charli Sorrentino. I'm a certified canine behaviorist, certified trainer. I do basics, advanced. I do service dogs, therapy dogs. So this was perfect, for me to be a part of this today.
Mm, mm. And I have to tell you, this subject also, like, just it pisses me off. I have to be honest, because what I see and what I understand to be happening is that, there are a lot of places, there's a lot of websites out there where you can go, and within a couple of minutes of filling out a few questions, you can, like, generate some kind of a piece of paper that people are paying hundreds of dollars for. And they have this expectation that now they're going to be able to go anywhere with their dog, flights, hotels, living apartments, whatever. And oftentimes that is not the case. It's not that, if you think about it, right, common sense, shouldn't be that easy to declare your pet a therapy animal. And then there's a bunch of confusion, which is there's service animal. I just saw for the first time today, I'd never heard of it before, a psychiatric service dog, and then there's therapy dogs. And so we really want to get into this because there's another factor too, which is I just saw this post literally earlier today from an animal advocate that the town of Hempstead, the director of the town of Hempstead, has been releasing pit bulls back to breeders without neutering as the town's law dictates, and that they have been accepting fake certificates that don't apply to pit bulls anyway. But the point is that, if you're able to just spend $5 to retrieve an animal and as declared, in this piece of paper to be a service animal, I mean, this is a joke. This is actually very damaging to legitimate service and therapy animals.
What happens though, Val, if somebody, so I want to understand what happens there, and Charlie and Val, please school me on this one, because again, learn, educate, advocate. But so I get that certificate. What now privileges and rights do I have? Like, why are you pissed off that I can, not me, but that someone can so easily obtain that? Like,
well, first of all, the reason why most people want it is because they want their pet to be eligible for exceptions. Most of the time, I believe it's for travel. They want to be able to take their dog to whatever hotel they want to stay in. They want to be able to take their pet on a flight and not have to check it into cargo, and or housing. But in this case, when you're talking about shelter animals being retrieved unaltered, meaning they're not fixed, that is terrible, because we have a major overpopulation problem with pit bulls. Every shelter in the country is lined with unwanted pit bulls, and it's sad. So to know that someone's breeding them and then they're able to retrieve their dog without them having them spayed or neutered, it actually goes against town code. It's actually against their own laws. So now these certificates are being used for that purpose. I mean, it's horrible. Anyway, I want to so Charlie, maybe we could start off with just a basic, right? Like, so what is an emotional service animal, which I believe is the lowest barrier to entry, right? No, sorry, emotional support animal. What is that?
Right. Actually, it's just a term. So we have people who have physical disabilities, but we also have people that have mental and emotional disabilities.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
those dogs may not necessarily have to perform a physical task, but they benefit the handler in one way or another. Most of the time, just being, if the people can hold the dog, that's good for them. Other people that I've worked with, dogs can detect if an anxiety attack is coming on. So psychiatric, emotional support, it really is all the same thing. It falls under the non-physical tasks.
Mhm.
Sometimes people do require that. They may require the dog to tap on their leg to let them know. And if that is something that they need, well, then we have to hone those skills. Most
Mhm.
dogs would do that anyway, and we just kind of develop it. So to me, a service dog is a service dog. It's a dog who provides some type of um, task or something just that will help that person. Now, if you're talking, people that are sight or hearing impaired, now you're talking a lot more extensive training because these
Yeah.
dogs, they have to be bomb proof. If you have, somebody with anxiety that is not sight or hearing impaired, well, the dog is not going to have to do the same things. But to
Mhm.
me, service dog is a service dog, no matter what they're doing, as long as it benefits and aids the handler. Now, a therapy dog is completely different, and people confuse them quite
Mhm.
often. A therapy dog is a dog that is trained and they go into either assisted living places, nursing homes, schools, hospitals. They just provide what people love so much about dogs, to be able to pet them or kiss them or give them a treat, or they lay on the bed with them or sit with the kid who's concerned about reading out loud. So they
Mhm.
are very, very different things. The training is not all that different until you get to physical tasks. Like, does a dog need to open the door or switch a light switch on or bark because the phone is ringing?
Mm.
Otherwise, the basics of it are really all the same.
Mhm. Mhm. I
So,
guess, what aggravates me is that if you Google, let's say, emotional support dog or animal, you're going to get these ads. I just did it before, and they're going to pop up, and there's kits, $179, $200, whatever. And they talk about how, in just minutes you can qualify, and they're going to get you like a vest or like a badge or something like that. There's all different levels of kits. And people are buying this stuff thinking that this is now going to open up all these doors for an emotional support animal. But the truth is that a lot of places don't honor that. And you're not going to get in, So it's a little bit unnerving. It feels like somewhat of a big, money grab.
Mm.
and
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. I get phone calls. I've had people say, I'll give you $2,000 if you write up a certification. And I'm like,
Wow.
no, I can't do
Right.
it. I have a reputation. Plus, I have a conscience.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
totally
Right.
unethical because there are so many people that truly do require
Yeah.
the of a service dog. And, I get it. I wouldn't want to put my dog, in cargo on a plane to travel. I get it.
Yeah.
But that's what this is about.
Yeah. Let's pause for a second. You know what? If you don't want to, and not you, Charlie, but listen, folks, if you don't want to put your dog in a cargo, why don't you drive? And then you don't have
That's
to
what
worry
we
about
do.
that. That's what Val
Right.
does. I know my friend Val, and I know the miles that get put on these cars. So Jovi is all good in the car, and he's part of the family. But we got to leave it there. We got to take a quick break. But when we come back, I know we have a lot of other questions about this, but I want to go into a little bit about, so somebody comes to you and says, I'll pay you to do this thing, just write it up. Well, obviously you're not going to do that. But so what is when we come back, we'll do this. What is the service? What is the training? Because, I almost feel like that scene from Tommy Boy. You want to, you want a guarantee? I can give you a guarantee. We will not do the whole scene right now because it's inappropriate. This is a family show. But if you haven't seen Tommy Boy, I don't know where you've been.
Yes.
We love Farley. And Brian Dennehy's in that movie. Brian Dennehy, he went to the same high school as me. Yep. So, all right. So we'll be back when we come back. I want to know what it is, Charlie. So if I say I need my dog certified, like what all that happens. This is the Professionals and Animal Lovers Show. We'll be right back.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Hello, everyone. We're back.
I love our song.
It's great. I remember saying in the beginning episodes, I was like, yeah, man, it's kind of zen. It makes me chill out. But no, it's got some pop. It's got some, I feel
It's a happy song.
It is a happy song.
Very light and breezy. So we're back with Charli Sorrentino. And one of the things that we're talking about is like when she trains a dog to become a therapy dog. And Charli, if you could, after you go into that, I would also like to understand if someone is presenting a certificate, whatever it is, like how do people check? You know what I mean? Like how do people know, is this legit or not? So let's start with the training though. So if let's say I have a dog, I go out, I adopt a beautiful pit bull, 1 or 2 years old, which I would love to do, hint, hint. Then I want my dog. What's that?
Remember that thought. Hold on a second. Who was the hint to? Was it the hint to Hef that there's going to be a pit bull? It was hinting Hef.
He loves pit bulls too. I mean, I think they're just, I know they are.
So
they have a bad rap.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, I was a big Spuds MacKenzie fan back in the day. Those are pit bulls, right? I told you I dressed up as Spuds MacKenzie when I was like 12. Did I tell you? So, yeah. So that's a hint. So that would be you and 2 dogs and Hef driving around the country from now on.
Hopefully more, but that's another story. So, So anyway, if I wanted my dog to get training to become a therapy animal, what does that look like? How long does it take? How much does it cost? Does every dog pass or not really? Like, let's get into that.
Well, first of all, Tommy, Spuds, I think, was a bull terrier.
Is that
Not
right?
a
See,
bull
but that-
terrier.
that's crazy because Charlie, my whole life I thought he was a pit bull.
No, wasn't he like that? Was like
Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right.
Well-
No, he was a bull terrier, but I think a lot of times people just, it's part of the pit bull
I think probably,
mix.
yeah. But
Right.
that's the same, again, not that, I know this is just limited information, but that was the same era, I feel, when a lot of these dogs were getting that bad reputation because of stupid things that happened because of stupid people, not because of
Yes.
stupid animals, right? It's
Right.
always the people's fault, you know?
Always.
Always, 100%, no, just 100% of the time, that's all. All right, so he's a bull terrier, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Valerie, back to you. Are you talking a therapy dog or are you talking service dog?
Either, or let's say I say, Charlie, I want to be able to bring my dog onto the plane with me into whatever hotel.
Okay,
So
all
I
right.
want my dog to be trained to become a service dog.
It would be
Right.
right. That service dog. So the
Okay.
first thing I do is ask the people, and I do have the right to ask this, what is your disability? So let's say somebody says, I have mobility issues. Okay,
Okay.
what are those mobility issues? And then they'll tell me, and then I say, I require a note from their doctor. I
Okay.
want that, there's another professional out there that's saying, yes, this person needs it. And I will call them and have a conversation because I'm serious about this. This should
Yeah.
not be willy-nilly as it is now. This
Mhm.
is something very important. So then they would come in, I would evaluate the dog, see what they know, because you have to start with the basics. Sit, stay, down, come, walk nicely on leash. That you need. The next step is a little bit more advanced. Leave it, drop it, going in and out of stores, restaurants. A good training thing to follow is the AKC Canine Good Citizen, where and again, it's just a little bit more advanced, but I'm an instructor and a certified testing evaluator
Can you
for
say
the
that again? The AKC what?
AKC Canine Good Citizen.
Canine good.
Got
Okay.
it. I'm gonna share it too. I found it. We'll share some of that information out, okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
They have specific training, what they want done in order for these dogs to pass the test. Now, if it's somebody with an emotional or a mental disability, I need to know if they are on medication. I need to know if they have any violent tendencies, because we don't want to put these dogs in a situation
Mhm.
where somebody may lash out and now they're
Oh my
harming the dog. So there's a lot that really goes into this. It's not
Okay.
just, oh, I want to take, Fluffy into the restaurant. There's a lot more that goes on. I mean, I do get a lot of little dogs, and
Yeah.
they tend more of the emotional aspect because people can hold them, which
Lapdog. Yeah.
right. So that is. Then there's special training. So let's say someone doesn't have the ability to flip a light switch on and off. We have to teach the dogs how to do that. Open a door. I've had this, open drawers.
Wow.
So that's where you really get into the meat and potatoes of that type of training.
Mhm.
More people now, I think, are a lot more people, unfortunately, are experiencing emotional distress, anxiety, PTSD, or at least we're becoming aware that
Mhm.
these, and I call say disability, but for lack of a better word, anybody with these type of disabilities, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
It's, oh, I'm getting nervous because I have to take a test. These are people that physically become, they shake and they can't concentrate. So these dogs are absolutely beneficial to people.
One of the things that blew my mind was, so again, I'm seeing more and more of these dogs with like bright red vest on, and but
Right.
then when you get up close, it'll say like, support animal, and I'm
Right.
sitting here going, let's look at the ADA, right? The ADA website. So I pull that up, and what blew my mind is that it basically says, I'm paraphrasing clearly, but that there's no like badge requirement, there's no vest that is, provided for a service animal. In fact, if you go to check into a hotel and you say, this is my service dog, they are not allowed to ask you specific questions. I think they can ask you what task, right? What task does this dog
Right.
provide?
They-
But they
related
can't
to
ask
HIPAA.
you like what's wrong with you if it's
Yeah.
not,
Right.
right.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, all these people are walking around with these fancy vests with their dogs, and they've got badges, and it looks legit, and yet
Right.
it's not.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to say this like to like out all those people, but maybe that's a little fugazi. Like maybe a little bit, maybe I said it. I wasn't going to say it, but I said it. But maybe a little bit like
Donnie Brasco over here.
we're going to go to a break in a sec, but I want to just.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry, dude. This is how the show works. You knew it. You knew it. It's only like 52 weeks in a row we've done this. All right, so I do want to read, but I'll drag out our way to the commercial break. I'll drag it out like this. So I went to the AKC, American Kennel Club, and I just shared this on Facebook too. But it says the canine good citizen test items are, and these are, I'm not going to read the numbers. Well, I will. 1, accepting a friendly stranger. Next one is sitting politely for petting, appearance and grooming, out for a walk, and it says parentheses, walking on a loose leash, walking through a crowd, sit and down on cue and stay in place, coming when called, reaction to another dog, reaction to distraction, supervised separation. This is not a game, folks. There are professionals like our friend Charli Sorrentino who has trained and knows what to do. All kidding aside, it's not just about getting a vest off of Amazon and then, no disrespect to Amazon, but it's not just getting an Amazon vest and putting this on your dog and say, I have a support dog. It doesn't work that way. That's why
Right.
we do 3 things on this show. We're here to learn, we're here to educate, and we're here to advocate. And that's what we do for you, and that's what we do for the animals. Charli Sorrentino, I'm so fired up. Maybe I have too much caffeine in this body today. Whew, I need a break. We'll take a break. We'll be right back, pals.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a small business trying to navigate the COVID-19 related employment laws? Hello, I'm Eric Sauvert, employment law business law attorney and host of the new radio show, Employment Law Today. On my show, we'll have guests to discuss the common employment law challenges business owners are facing during these trying times. Tune in on Tuesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
Hey, everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Charli, we're so happy to have you here. And I just shared the 10 steps, folks. You could look at them on the AKC website. I'll share it. I did share it on Facebook. I'll try to share just this link with the 10 steps. But I mean, knowing is one thing, Charli. It's a matter of having a professional like you that's actually going to do the work, right? You can't Like, just because I see that doesn't mean I'm going to be able to train my dog to do these
Well,
things.
let me bring this up too, because I was talking to Charlie a little bit about this before the break, before we went live. But I saw a website also earlier today that's talking about how you can train your own dog to become a psychiatric service dog, so a PSD. And I'm sitting here going, these modules that they're talking about, they're all online. And I remember a long time ago when I was in the world of networking, that a very well qualified PR professional was saying, he believes greatly in specialists. And if you think about it, right, if you're going to go to a doctor, you're not going to go to the podiatrist if you need brain surgery, and you're not going to go to the cardiologist if you need, fill in the blank of any other doctor. I can't think of one right now, oncology, whatever. But like, there's specialists for a reason. And I believe so greatly that dog training needs to happen in person. Am I wrong? I mean,
it's better
okay.
because then, I mean, and there are people that come to me that their dogs have basic obedience. So what
Okay.
I would do is evaluate the dog, see how much do they have? Are they close to 95, 97%? If they are, then we can move on to more advanced. The one thing about people training at home, if it's your family dog and you just want a nice, friendly, well-behaved family dog, sure, as long as you're using positive reinforcement and nothing negative, no choke prongs or shock collars, yeah, you can. But in something like this, it is better to come to a professional, even to see how well trained the dog is. But again, I go back to this all the time. This is serious business. These aren't your average everyday family dogs. These are dogs that when they're working, they're working. When they're home, they, depending on whatever the situation is with their handler, then they can be regular dogs. Or,
And I'll tell you, I also read on the ADA site that it says these a service animal is not a pet. A service
Correct.
animal is considered to be a working animal.
Right.
So they have a job to do, and that is a very important distinction as well. And that's why I get so aggravated when I'm hearing that people are buying these like quick certificates. A woman who I met recently, she used to be a vet tech, and now she has like a pet care business. She made an excellent post just, I think, 2 days ago, talking about this very topic, saying, please stop doing this, because what you're doing is you're actually delegitimizing the actual therapy animals, because if there's no distinction, then it's going to hurt, the people who really need these therapy animals, as well as, potentially there's other things that can go wrong. Like, can you imagine if someone's walking around with an animal that they bought a certificate for, or a vest or whatever, and that dog attacks someone else's dog? I mean, if there's no qualifications, it's just a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing that, and I think this probably started because the airlines have cracked down so much. I actually got a call from a company that I think maybe it was JetBlue, that they now have this company who checks on all of the service dogs. So this company, I can't remember the name of it. They called me. They wanted to know what my credentials were, when the dog came in for training, what I did for training, and what I gave to the people, because in the United States, there's no actual legal certification for a service dog. It's completion of service dog training. So it's a little bit different, like the
So there's
wording.
not necessarily like at the end you check the box, there was an exam or whatever. It's really the actual work is what proves that they're ready.
Right. It's the work involved. But now with the AKC, and I always do, the Canine Good Citizen, they have it where to get the certificate from them, There is all the boxes that I have to check off to say the dog passed number 1, number 2, all the way up to number 10. So if we stay on track with that, and the flip side of that is if somebody walks into a restaurant and they say they have a service dog, and that dog is, let's say, getting up from underneath the table, knocks into the waitress. I mean, not that these dogs, they're not robots, they're animals, and sometimes things happen, but a well-trained dog is kind of going to give you notice if they have to go out or if something is not okay. So if you have an untrained dog, these organizations, the restaurants, the airlines, the grocery stores, they have the right, the legal right to ask these people to leave.
You know, I want to make a comment here because I'll tell you, I've never been on a flight where I saw a service dog. So this is curious to me. Like I've never experienced that. But I have sometimes like been in a restaurant and stuff like that. And again, I'm very connected to the intellectual and developmental disability nonprofit organizations that serve that community, as well as mental health is critically important to me as well. So I understand the need for these things, but what kind of bugs me a little bit is if somebody's playing games, if somebody is being silly, I use that word fugazi, but if somebody's being silly and just puts a vest on the dog so they can get their dog into, it's not exactly why are we doing this? Maybe we probably don't need your dog like in here where I'm going to have like a steak, you know, like but this is human nature. I guess people take advantage of different things and they try just to do things that make them happy.
People want what they want, and they don't mind paying for a shortcut.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I can't put Val. You remember last year, a year and a half ago, when people were buying fake COVID vaccine cards on the internet? I mean, one guy told me, like in a meeting, like he was like proud of his kid. Yeah, my son got one of these fake cards. Like, dude, what are we talking about? People will.
I mean, look, it goes back to I'm certainly not going to play innocent, like, you know, in the sense of I think all of us, at least from my graduating class, probably had a fake license. You know, like, I mean, they were a lot easier to fake back then, though. Now there's like holograms.
Were you chalking? Was that your era where you could chalk?
I don't think I did it. If memory serves, I had a friend and they were like, it's $200. And we all were like, you know, like, yeah, whatever. But, you know, because we all wanted to go out together. We all wanted to get into the clubs and yada, yada, you know,
I'm no saint either, Val. I hear you. I know. I get
but,
it.
you know, what gets me, though, is that, you know, the potential mishaps and the dangers of it. Like, I mean, if someone is just going to, you know, buy a vest or do whatever, you know, what happens if your dog or something attacks a child, or, you know, can really, it could be so bad for also your dog and other people too. But it's just, you know, also taking these animals out of shelters, unspayed, unneutered. This is bad. This is like, this defeats the entire purpose of what we are trying to do, which is create a humane environment, reduce overpopulation. Somebody help me.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So Charlie, what would you say, like, aside from the site that you gave us, which is excellent, thank you, you know, what would you say to avoid, or where else can people be directed to so that they can get the right information?
Well, it's either the American Disability Act, the ADA, the Attorney General's office. They also have on their website, for New York anyway, I don't know any, you know, about the other states, but New York has that, where they give you a breakdown of the policies, what's required, things like that. So, but it's important. I mean, I have to say, most people, the majority of the calls I get are legitimate. So I've done, you know, 1,000 service dogs. I would say maybe 3 or 4 people have asked. So thankfully it's not overrun. And I think now what really is going to push that back is that the airlines, which I think is the biggest thing. Housing somewhat, but the airlines, that's the biggest thing. They're cracking down so much. So
Mhm.
going to be able to. Now, they can sidetrack that, and I'm not even going to say how they can do it because I don't want to put out on the air how people can get around that. You and I and Tommy will have a private conversation about that.
Okay.
So,
Don't bring me into don't bring me into these private conversations,
Oh.
Sorrentino. You guys can have this conversation without me. I got enough problems. No,
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Here's my question about, I want to know though, because you are obviously a resource. You're obviously an asset to your clients. Is there a website? How do new potential clients get to you right now? What do you have a website? Is it Facebook? How do people find you?
Well, I have all the above. I have a website, I have an email address, Facebook, all of that.
What's the website? Because I want to share it on Facebook now.
Very, very simple. www.thedogchick.com.
Yep.
And you can get to my email from there, but that's very simple. Dogtraining123@yahoo.com. And even if somebody has a question, if they're inquiring, I would rather, they got contacted me than somebody who is not a professional or, God forbid, looking online where you get so much misinformation.
But that's what we do. We bring you the professionals, guys. These are vetted professionals that we have. These are friends of ours. These have the Val, this should be like a stamp of approval, but it's like a paw. What do you think of that?
I think we have talked about that.
I know we have. I know we have. I was just
I
making.
like that.
I know.
love
I just came up with it on the spot there. I was being cute, but that we have talked about it. Where you are now, certified.
kind of like, vetted. I've referred people to Charli. I don't know if they ever called her or not, but I've referred several people over to her. I pray to God people will listen, and because I'm always worried about the animals. And so if I have a friend who's telling me that she has a hard time controlling her shepherd mix on a walk when the dog sees another dog, because he's got this strong prey drive, it makes me very nervous, and I want that pet to get the training that it really deserves, so that, God forbid, if it gets loose or whatever, nobody wants these things to happen.
So whoever Valerie's talking to, the website is thedogchick.com.
Yeah.
We're not calling people out, but if you're
Yeah.
listening, go to the dog chick.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. I don't know who you are, but you know who you are. Val,
Actually, you do know who they are. You just don't know it right now.
I don't know right now.
Charli, let me ask you this question. Do you offer what do you call the bomb sniffing dogs and canine, like the canine cop trainings also? Do you train police dogs? That's what I'm trying to ask.
No, the police departments, they train their own dogs.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
What about other types of specialized, I read, I saw something, it was a dog that was trained to sniff out like SIM cards and like microchips, because there was this guy who was very involved with child pornography, and they could never catch him. They got a dog to sniff out where he was hiding these little electronic chips.
Wow.
Can you do that?
I don't, I've played around with, dogs, sniffing things, done search and rescue games. I don't do it as a profession. And I got to tell you why. My specialty is fear and reactivity. And that keeps me very busy.
Yeah.
And then I do regular training, but those are my main things, that fear and reactivity, because
I got to tell you, I just got to tell you, Charli, I'm going to share your website as we go to break, but if you specialize in people, you'd be super busy with fear and reactivity, because that is an issue for only all the people I know, probably nobody that you know, but fear and reactivity seems to be kind of a constant everywhere I go. All right, I want to share your website. I know you have a lot more to say, but we want to leave some time when we come back for that final Valerie Hates Breaks, hashtag Valerie Hates Breaks. All right, well, I'm going to share your website. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be frank about health to advocate for all of us.
Calling all pet lovers.
Pet Avengers, assemble!
On the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, we believe the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. It mirrors that bond between pets and their owners. Through this program, we come together to learn, educate, and advocate.
Join us live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. at talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
All right, we're back. This is P.A.L. So let me ask you a question, everybody. I'm still sharing this if you're watching on Facebook, and I'm going to ask you these two questions. Before you make a decision to hire a dog professional, Charlie wants you to ask yourself these two questions. Would you send your child to a school where the teachers weren't formally educated and certified? Would you send your child to a school where the teachers are not formally educated and certified? Again, we're talking to pet parents right now, so it's basically the same thing. Would you send your child to a school where intimidation and physical punishment was implemented? Well, I wouldn't. And I know most parents of human children wouldn't. And I know most parents of pets would not either. So, Charlie, you're looking at it from a totally different perspective, right? Like there's an old school way of doing things, and then there's the right way of doing things, right?
Right. The way science has thankfully taught us over the past 25 years at least now, and again, there are still these trainers out there. Unfortunately, this is an unregulated business. So you can call yourself a dog trainer, you can call yourself a behaviorist. You don't have to have any formal education, and you can use any type of equipment or methodology that you think works. So, I come across this all the time. Somebody I spoke to in rescue yesterday was telling me how this trainer who's around for years, and he's pretty well known, I'm not going to say his name, how he uses shock collars, but they call them e-collars or remote collars to get dogs not to be afraid of something and to be non-reactive. That is so completely against science and the way the brain works. So if you use a kinder, more humane, gentle way, now the dog isn't going to be so frightened. So this is why I'm such a big advocate. And people think positive motivation is just, you just giving dogs treats. That's not what it's about. It's how you implement it, when you implement it, and you're just rewarding them for doing what you would like them to do ultimately. And then there's no physical punishment.
Hey, Charlie.
You don't, that.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Well, first of all, I want to let everyone know that this young lady has decades of experience and on top of all of her diplomas and certifications. But question, can you can you discuss what your experience was? You told me, I think you were in some kind of a class and they had the men put on a shock collar, right? And then, and they were testing, and I think the women did just their fingers or something like that. I don't remember the exact scenario. Can you talk about that experience?
Sure. Well, the school that I had attended, the Academy of Canine Education, their thing was you're never going to use a piece of equipment like a shock collar that causes so much pain and fear. You're never going to use this piece of equipment unless you actually know, you experience it yourself. So yes, so the girls, we had our fingers on the prongs of the shock collar, and then there's a transmitter. So somebody's, playing with the dials, lowering the intensity, raising the intensity. So the guys all got cocky and said, oh yeah, that's nothing. The instructor put it right on their throat here where nobody, dogs, cats, people, there's no fat there. There's nothing. It's just skin and whatever is behind it. Some of these guys actually had tears in their eyes, and these were big men. They weren't little. Yeah. So that's
I don't really
why,
care about these guys because they were cocky, but I just think I took that right to what is it on an animal, like
Right.
an innocent little animal just trying. Come on, this is dumb. This is dumb. I'm sorry. I know now I'm pissed off, Val. It took me 58 minutes, but now I'm pissed off. Because this is just dumb stuff. It's not the way to do things. We're trying to show you a better way. We're trying to.
But the point is that these methods are still out there.
Yeah.
so out there, and I mean, Long Island is inundated with people who call themselves trainers and behavior specialists. And like you said, Val, not just education. You need to have education and experience. You have that cocktail, and now somebody who knows what they're doing.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you know how I feel about this, and we're still fighting this battle. The good news, I'll celebrate. The good news is that 5 years ago at the Hempstead Animal Shelter, they hired the least qualified candidate for the highest top dollar bid. And all I'm going to say about that is that they finally just put out an RFQ, and they are looking for an animal behavior consultant. So please, qualified people, send in your resumes. I will.
I would like, being that they're accepting nominations, I would like to nominate my friend Valerie Heffron, co-host of this year's show, the Professionals and Animal Lovers Show.
Unqualified and would never even apply.
Okay, well, listen, I've nominated other people for other things before, and they didn't win either, so no worries. It's all good.
So Val, how can these professionals
Apply?
find about how to apply?
Okay, great question. So you go to the Town of Hempstead website, which is hempstead.gov, I believe. Hold on one second. Town of Hempstead. Where are you? I believe it's hempstead.gov or hempsteadny.gov, but
Why? Because hempstead.gov did not work. Let's see.
okay, so then it's got to be hempsteadny.gov.
I got it. So where are we going to look? We'll do it right now.
Okay, great. So you're going to go to the top right tab that says business.
Yep. Okay. Top right tab. This is business. I promise this will go on Facebook, everybody. Where am I going, Val?
And then active bid postings. And the RFQ is probably the 6th or 7th, something like that. You'll see it says specifically, there it is.
Right here. Got it right here. Request for qualifications for animal behavior consultant. It is currently open, and it closes October 20th of 2022 at 11 a.m. So that gives you a short time frame, about 3 weeks. So if you
click it, it'll give you at the bottom another red hyperlink, and you click that, and then the directions are there. You got to email, you got to request your packet. And then after you get that via email, you can respond with your qualifications.
Right. Does it for specific qualifications?
It does not. I don't know why, but
Okay.
maybe they're just looking to cast a wide net.
Right. It used to be you had to be a CPDT-KA, a certified professional dog trainer, knowledge assessed by the Certification Council of Professional Dog Trainers. The problem with that is if you're asking for a behavior specialist, that is a training certification. It's not a behavior certification.
I think because of based of years of public outcry that they wanted to cast a wide net and then see, and sift through their options.
So we probably, Charlie and Val, we probably have in our community, in the people we deal with, we probably have people that would, oh my God, we're out of time, that would excel in that position, right? So you, and you know what? Charlie may know some people, Valerie may know some people, I might even know some people, but.
And the truth is, it's about the animals finally getting the enrichment and the care and the training and the behavior modification that they really need.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Charlie, leave us with a couple words before we have to head out.
Be kind to all animals.
That's awesome.
Always think about how you would feel if someone was treating you that way.
Yeah, no kidding. The
Beautiful.
old golden rule, not the golden rule, he who has the gold makes all the rules, but the one is treat others like you want to be freaking treated. Get it together.
Right.
Let's say, listen, the 11th of October will be the first ever, which will probably happen 50 years in a row. We'll probably be doing this event, but the first ever Compassion Awards. Whew, I'm out of breath. The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. And I read that off the back of my business card because that's where we put it right there.
Yeah.
Yay, Gandhi. Yay, Charlie. Yay, Val.
Thank you. Charlie, thank you so much.
Charlie, thanks for being I'll see you later.